Hello, 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 hello. It's Dr. Shara here. I am the founder and CEO of Be Your Best Yet Coaching and Consulting. And of course, I am Dr. Shara. I am a leadership coach and consulting where I specialize in leadership development for future principals, first year principals, and early career principals up until year 7. And here at Be Your Best Yet, we have this theory of action. And our theory of action is as follows: that empowered principals cultivate thriving schools. And so that's really our mission and vision, is to really empower future principals, first year principals, and early career principals so that they can cultivate thriving schools. So let's hop in, new principals. One of the things that is so important is clocking in, and that's one of my essential C's within my essential C's for principals. And when we think about clocking in, I really want you to think about it as an employee engagement, workplace culture type thing. I've talked about clocking out, but now let's talk about clocking in, because it is that time of year where hiring decisions will begin to be made. Intent letters might go out, in addition to also just thinking about who will you invite and attract to your school communities, districts is well. So one thing that I want you to really consider is that clocking in and really thinking about employee engagement and workplace culture is not just around hiring season. And of course, as we know, hiring season is all year, and employee engagement and workplace culture is definitely all year. So I want to begin the conversation with clocking in with 5 insights from Gallup. Um, and if you don't know about Gallup new principles, I'm going to give you a pro tip, a principles pro tip, at least for me. I can't speak for anyone else, but this is something that I do did when I was in the seat of principal, and I still do as in my roles now. So really study organizational culture, study people, okay? Because so much of, not so much, the work that we do is people. It's people work. It's organizational work. So really studying organizations, how organizations work, how people work, how people think. Um, you'll go far. So let's hop in. Let's think about these 5 insights from Gallup. I'm going to make this a tad bigger. All right. So let me hide this. Here we go. Gallup emphasizes the following key points about workplace culture. So, number one, engaged employees are more productive and contribute significantly to an organization's success. So, new principles, I want you to do this. Stop and think for a moment. Think about your school, think about your staff. This is your staff overall, classified, certified, everyone. All right. So, who are those employees that you would put as engaged, that you would identify as engaged, and who are your ones that you would say are disengaged? Jot that down. And then I want you to think about the ones that you really feel are engaged. Are they more productive, and do they contribute significantly to your success? All right. The ones that you think are disengaged or not as engaged, These could be staff members that they come to work every day. Hopefully they come to work. They come to work every day. They may or may not even cause any problems, any issues. But something about them appears as though they may not be all in. They're there because of what what they get out of the organization or out of the school or the district, which could be a check every month. They're comfortable being there, but are they clocked in to the culture, to the school? Okay. Make your list. Think about that. All right. So let's move on to number 2. Gallup insight on workplace culture number 2. A positive workplace culture is linked to lower turnover rates and higher employee satisfaction. All right. So I want you to think about this. Think about number 1. Think about that same list of people that you're disengaged or not so engaged versus your ones that you think are highly engaged. All right. Thinking about number 2, what's the turnover rate? Who's satisfied? Is it the disengaged or the engaged? And I also want you to think about this as well. How do you know? How have you measured satisfaction? So, new principles, sometimes number 2 can be a hard pill to swallow by asking. But guess what? You have to progress monitor. I call them temperature checks. You have to check the temperature of your building. All right. And sometimes, hard fact, sometimes when you first get into a building, being a new principal, you may have some turnover and you may not. But if you have some turnover, I want you to think about why do I have the turnover? Are the people just not a great fit here? Are they not engaged with the work? Or am I disengaged from what the people need? All right. So think about it that way. All right. So let's move on to number 3. All right. Number 3, employees who feel their opinions and values are valued are more likely to be engaged. All right, new principals, by a show of hands, how many of you like to be told what to do and when to do it, or for decisions to be made for you without any type of questions whatsoever? Now, I can't see you, but I know that typically I don't think anyone's hands are raised, including mine. I would never raise my hand. I would never raise my hand for for this one because I do have an opinion. And most of us as professionals, all of us as professionals, we do have an opinion. Now, and it's not saying that you have to do what people say. That's not what it's saying. It's just simply saying that opinions are valued. That means that you ask, you survey. All right. I want you to think about this as well. How often, when was the last time that you asked your staff's opinion about something, big or small? And are they used to that? So that when you ask their opinions, they freely tell you the truth. And that's what you want. You want people to tell you the truth, the good, bad, ugly, indifferent. You want that. You want a staff of people that are thinkers. Well, I can't speak for you, I can only speak for myself as the leader that I am. I want people that think, um, and that have opinions, but they can back up their opinions and their requests. All right. So think about that, as well as think about it from your standpoint as well. Think about the last time a decision was made, even as a building principal for you. You didn't necessarily like that. Okay. All right. So let's move on to number 4. Effective communication and regular feedback are crucial for building a positive culture. This goes along with number 3. So I want you to think about new principles. What are your systems for regular feedback and communication? I call those communication feedback loops. So, how often are you seeking feedback? How do you share the feedback? I'll give you a strategy that worked for me. Um, Whatever you typically send out, whether you send out a weekly meeting by memo, a Sunday s'more, whatever your communication piece is, have a space within there to where you're asking and you're seeking feedback. All right. So get into the habit of always seeking and asking for feedback. That energizes a culture. And it relates back to number 3, that helps people to feel as though their opinions are valued, and actually not feel, but they know that their opinions are valued. And so again, and in the event that someone comes and they have an opinion about something, or they have a suggestion and you cannot go through with it, guess what? That's okay. That's where number 4 comes in. Effective communication, explaining the why, giving the feedback, giving the rationale behind it. All right. It's okay to do that. It's that helps with engagement. Okay. And last but not least, number 5, recognizing and leveraging individual strengths leads to higher engagement. All right, principals, let me tell you this. So, all of us, we're educators. And for those principals that started off as classroom teachers, I want you to understand and get this as a new principle. Your building, everyone that's up under your watch and your care in your building, think of that as your classroom. So, as classroom teachers, what did we do? We had to know our students backwards and forwards. We had to know them collectively as a classroom. We knew them as small groups for small group instruction. We also knew them as individuals. So it's no different for the adults within your building. You must know them backwards and forwards. You must know their strengths and where they're not so strong, and have an assets-based, a strengths-based mentality, so that you can leverage people's strengths. That makes people feel good, because people are working in their gifts and their talents. All right. So I want you to pause and stop for a minute and think about your classroom, which is the school. So think about every single adult in your building. Do you know their strengths? Are you maximizing their strengths to add to the culture and climate, as well as whatever the mission and vision and goals are for your school? And do they know directly how their strengths tie to the overall organizational goals? So I give you an example. So one of my strengths, and this is actually from Gallup, is ideation. All right. So I can do idea generation. All right. So I'm a perfect person to have as a thought partner, because I can listen, take what people say, come up with ideas, but I also have I also am high in activation and strategic thinking is as well. So not only can I take the ideas, come up with all the ideas, I can take all the ideas and then package them into an organized plan. All right. So anyone that has me on their team, um, it will behoove them to use that to their advantage for the organization to propel forward. All right. So we have gone over new principles, the Gallup insights on workplace culture. So in your own time, I want you to rewatch this video and stop and pause and really write down the thoughts and next actionable next steps, bite-sized actionable next steps for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And begin to think about how can you continue, because I know you're already doing a great job. I know that. How can you continue to hone your skills in really creating a highly engaged, energized workplace culture at your school? So, last but not least, make sure that you follow me and let me know your thoughts on this. If you should have any questions about any of those 5, feel free to, after you follow me, you'll get my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear your thoughts or talk this through with you. All right. So, as I love to say, the best is yet to come. This is Dr. Shara signing out. Do your bite sized next steps. Talk soon. Bye.